But here's the thing, why do you never show your boyfriend? And I just don't understand why you care so much. Like, honestly, I don't even know anymore, and it just touched a nerve. Why does this water bottle sound like it's screaming? So it's that time again. Grab yourself your beverage of choice. Mine right now is water, but if I wasn't drinking this, I'd be having a peach iced tea from either Starbucks or Costa. Gus says he would like some chimkin. Want some chimkin? Yeah. So it's actually been nearly 7 months since I went back to being self-employed. Bit of backstory if you didn't know, I went and got myself an office job around July last year. So I worked 9 to 5 full time pretty much. The shifts differed, but basically 9 to 5. And when I first started the job, it was 3 days in the office, 2 days work from home. And then by the time it got to like November, I think, it changed to 5 days in office, and it took me 40 minutes to drive there. So that was one of the main reasons I left, alongside a bunch of other things, and I think I made a video about it, so if I did, I'll link that on screen. But I realised in doing that the office life is not for me. I'm very much a lone wolf. I've never liked someone telling me what to do. I enjoyed the challenge and I learned a lot, met some really nice people, but it just wasn't the vibe for me in the end, so I ended up leaving. So long story short, I've been self-employed again for 7 months, and I thought it was a good time to sort of touch base, answer your questions, and just sort of check in with you guys, because it's been a roller coaster. Also, apologies if I get gradually like shinier during this video. I've had to close the window because there's people outside and it is so warm. I think summer's decided to come back again. First question, will you ever work another 9 to 5? Straight answer is no. Not in the structure that I had it before. I perhaps would do something part-time, maybe in a complete different industry. I think that might have been where I went wrong, is that the job I did was sort of in the creative designy type thing. So by the time I got home from work, I was exhausted. So I reckon if I got another job, or if I needed to get another job, I would get something completely different. I'm not sure what, but I'm open to the idea. Obviously, the work that I do is never going to be secure, so I'm fully aware that this might not last. If I need to, yes, but I'd probably go about it in a different way. How do you deal with difficult clients? Honestly, I don't even know anymore. Sometimes, I mean, if you watched a recent vlog, you'll have seen that I had like a couple of, not negative experiences, but new experiences with clients, where one of them didn't want to work with me from the start, despite it being really positive when we had our call, etc. And another stopped working with me halfway through the project. Like, our visions just weren't aligning and it wasn't fitting the time scale, etc. I wouldn't say those clients were difficult, but I think to me it was difficult to handle. Whereas handling a difficult client, I mean, other than writing a contract that like states timescales and payment terms, I've not found any way of getting around someone being a pain in the arse. Like, I don't think there's a way. I think some people are just like that. Maybe as I progress, I'll get a bit better at like, my pain in the arse radar will like flash and I'll know, but it's kind of hard to tell. So in the moment, how to deal with them, I literally am just extra polite. I think almost to the point where it annoys them. Sometimes people just say things for a reaction and I'm not going to give them one. I'm going to provide the work that they wanted and I'm going to give them a good service. So yeah, I just have to like take a second. Like, recently I had a couple of emails that like pressed my buttons, is that the right phrase? And I just had to take a minute and then compose a professional reply, and things were fine. But in the moment it's very frustrating, I won't lie. I always love this question. How are you doing? So yeah, you might have noticed I didn't upload a video like last week because I was having a bit of a down time. Like, my mental health took a bit of a plunge, and I most definitely overworked myself, and I was just trying to fight through it, and I realised that's not the way to go about it. So I took a week off, and honestly I feel so much better for doing it. I'm actually currently doing it's not a course, I guess it is a course. It's called The Artist's Way, and you follow this 12-week like self-taught course thing on how to like reignite your creativity and like find yourself a little bit. So I've been doing that and I found that really, really helpful. So how am I? I'm good. I had a bit of a wobble, but I'm all right. And actually, this smooth segue, that leads me perfectly on to this week's partnership. This part of the video is a paid partnership with BetterHelp. Now, if you know me, I often struggle with my mental health, and I have used BetterHelp previously to help me talk it out. So what I love is that BetterHelp is online. You can do it via video call, you can do it via text, you can do it via regular call with no video. It's completely up to you, whichever you feel comfortable with. And you just go onto their website, answer a few questions about your needs and what you're struggling with, and BetterHelp will then pair you. Gus is very passionate about BetterHelp. BetterHelp will then pair you with a therapist that has the credentials to support you in whatever it is that you need support with. Now, their mission is to make therapy more accessible because it is online, because you can do it on your phone, you can do it anywhere, you don't need to commute to an office, you can do it on your own terms, and you can also message your therapist at any time because you've got a little direct chat feature thing, which I used a lot. And because finding a therapist isn't like a one therapist fits all kind of situation. All right, dude. Gus, I know. Here's the culprit. Do you need to speak to a therapist? Are you okay? He says no. Get off me, Mum. Sorry about that. So yes, if you are matched with a therapist and you find that they're not quite right for you, then you can change therapists for free, which is great because it's almost like dating. Like, how do you know that that person's gonna like vibe with you, you know, and like understand? And yeah, I rave about BetterHelp a lot. I've worked with them a few times now and have used their services myself. My boyfriend is also a current user of their services, so we are all for making therapy more accessible in this household. Even Gus agrees. So if you're struggling with anything, no matter what it may be, you can get 10% off your first month with BetterHelp using my link, which I will put on screen and in the description. Definitely go and check it out. And I think it's time for me to feed Gus some food. 1 second. Come on, Ned. All right, we're back. I'm so sorry. Gus was just shouting that whole time. Do you miss the old YouTube days or wish you could go back? Love you. I do. So I think, well, I know back then, like back in like 2013 to maybe 2018, that things were so much simpler. Like, being an influencer wasn't a thing. TikTok wasn't around. Like, you just did it because you loved it, and if you got paid for it, then that's a bonus. And the community of YouTubers themselves was actually fewer people, so you kind of knew the UK YouTube scene, and going to Summer in the City was so fun. Like, it was just a nice tight-knit community, and I feel like as it's grown, that community vibe is sort of like dwindling a little bit, which I feel like would happen in any industry. Say you started like a business and you worked in one office, if all of a sudden that like business had multiple headquarters all over the world with like hundreds and thousands of employees, you're not going to have that vibe. And I feel like that's what's happened, which is really sad. I wish we could go back to what it was like, even just for like a week or so. Like, take me back to a little OG Summer in the City event and I would have loved it. But in the same breath, I do like how things are more easy now. Like, not easy in the sense of content creation, because like obviously it's got a lot harder, I'd say, but easy in the sense that you don't have to be as polished anymore. Like, people love a raw vlog. You're not really expected to sit down with like a whole filming setup and do a makeup routine and do like all the polished stuff that we used to do. I like how much more chill it is now, but I definitely miss the community vibe. So this question's quite a few different questions mixed in. Are you engaged, or getting married, or having kids? First of all, I'm not engaged. Secondly, I'm not getting married anytime soon. I feel like marriage will be on the cards for me at some point, but I'm not that bothered. And that kind of surprises me, because when I was younger, I feel like I did the classic like little girl thing of planning your wedding dress and like wanting a Prince Charming. But then as I've got older, I've realised that I'm not actually that bothered. Like, it doesn't really change anything as long as who I'm with is like my person. I don't think a little piece of paper saying that we're married makes much of a difference. And I will have kids one day. I'm not sure when. I'm 28 now, which feels really old to me, and I know there'll be people watching this older saying like 28 is not old at all, but I'm sure you were in the same situation when I was this age, when you were this age, I mean. So yeah, I reckon maybe like 5 years time, age 33 or something, I'll start thinking about children. But for right now, me and my boyfriend are really happy where we are. What's that phrase? I keep seeing it on TikTok, like DINK, D-I-N-K, double income, no kids. And I think that's great. That's my life I'm living. We're gonna go on camping adventures. Obviously we've got the cat, he's our child, and I'm happy living that life for now. Eventually I will have kids. I've always said I want 2 to 3 children, but we'll see. We'll see how stressful the situation is when it comes. Linked in with that, what are some of your favourite baby names? Okay, so this is one of those things that I've had a note for on my phone for years, and I'm obsessed. It's pretty long list. The top is girls, the bottom is boys. So I've got more girls than boys. I'm gonna go with like the top 3 on both lists. I love Lucia. I think that's got a bit of Italian. Is it Italian? I'm not sure. But my boyfriend's part Italian, so I feel like that fits the vibes and it's a really beautiful name. Leonora, again, that's Italian, and that's also my grandma's middle name. Margot, love. And then for boys, Oscar, Luca, I really like, and then Freddie as well, but I'm not sure. I kind of want a name that you can't really shorten, when Freddie would get shortened to Fred, which I don't mind, but I don't know, like my name's Alice and you can't really shorten it. You can get Al, but I don't really get called Al. So yes, they're my baby names. Great question. I love asking people that question. Okay. Why do you never show your boyfriend? So I had a little bit of an experience a couple of days ago where a follower took real offence to the fact that I didn't show my boyfriend, and I just didn't understand why it was such an issue, but I guess we can address it. Let's just take the mature route. So basically my boyfriend works within the NHS. I'm sure you'll have seen his uniform like hanging up around the house in various places because he likes to leave it just anywhere. He works within the NHS and his job role is in a very sensitive area of the NHS. And right from the start, when we very first met, we sort of established that we didn't want our relationship to be online. Of course, in the past I've shared relationships and I've learned a lot from doing that. Like, I don't mind sharing it and it is quite fun. Obviously there are a lot of memories and fun things that I'd love to just pick up the camera and show. But then I also really like having that part of me just for me. I don't know why, we're just not like bothered about showing it. Like, he's rarely even on social media, he's not active on there at all, and we're just not bothered. We're just happy living our own little lives. He's really supportive of what I do, obviously. He loves like consuming social media, and when we're gonna go on like these camping adventures that we're gonna do soon, he's gonna get involved with like filming and shooting videos and stuff, but he's very much behind the camera kind of guy. The person that decided to mention it was very adamant on the fact that just saying his name won't mean that people will find him. But here's the thing. My last relationship I put online and I said his name, just his first name, and very quickly people found him, and that sort of defeats the whole point of me not showing him. So yes, he's Mr. No Name right now. Maybe we could think of a nickname for him, I'm not sure. It's not this big mystery, he exists, he's a lovely man. I love him a lot, my family love him, my friends love him and have met him, but for the purpose of being online, he's not going to be. He's just not that kind of guy, and honestly it's not that deep. So I'm sure most of you don't care. Like, I follow people who don't show their boyfriends, and honestly I don't care. So I'm sure you're in the same situation, but I had a very angry viewer messaging me the other day and it just touched a nerve. Do you think your house is your forever home? This is something I think about a lot and I'm not sure. So realistically, when we have kids, this room will be a kid's room. Then the third bedroom is not even a bedroom, it's basically our walk-in wardrobe. So I don't know what we'd do with that, but then again we don't have room in the master bedroom for wardrobes, so it's always going to have to be a situation of the wardrobes are in a different room. Realistically you could fit 2 kids in this room, but only when they're little. So either we'd have to like extend the house somehow, whether that would be in the loft or like at the back of the house, which is obviously expensive, but then moving's also expensive. I love the area we're in. We've made like the gardens beautiful. I'd be so sad to leave all the hard work that mainly my dad put into our garden. So I'm not sure, like I'd happily stay here, but obviously as things change and like we grow, it might need to change. But for now we're good. I think for the next like at least 5-6 years, I think we're fine. Oh, this is interesting. What job do you think you'd be doing if it wasn't a graphic designer? I think about this a lot. I feel like it'd probably be, again, something creative, maybe photographer, and I was kind of a photographer previously, but maybe something completely different. I don't know, I've always had a creative spark. Maybe working in the TV industry, that was something I was interested in. But as we've established, I'm a bit of a lone wolf. So working in the TV industry is very sociable and I'm very much like an introvert. An extroverted introvert. But you know, if I do too much socialising, I need to go to bed and have a nap. Like I can't do that much socialising. I think this kind of job works well for me. Maybe a remote role. Honestly, I don't know. I really struggle with that answer. Okay, last couple of questions. Will you ever open another shop? I don't know. So if you didn't know, I used to have a little stationery shop called Soul and Fire. I loved it with all my heart. I put so much time, money, sweat, tears, everything into that shop. And in the end, I just sort of, it wasn't giving me what it did. Like, I don't know, I don't know if I fell out of love with it because I still loved it so much. But it got to a point where I was putting more into it than I was getting out. And I guess if I was fully invested in the idea of owning a shop, like I would have just carried on, because you're not always going to get like a return, right? Whether, not return as in just money, return as in like fulfillment. Proper serious shop owners would push through that, and I think that's what I didn't have. I don't think it was like my passion, if that makes sense. Like, yes, I enjoyed it and I loved the process and everything about it, and I often reminisce, but I don't think that is the kind of job for me. I felt quite tied down with it. Like I felt like I couldn't go on holiday because I had orders to ship, and I was always like trying to think ahead, and it felt a lot of pressure. And I don't know, I think mentally sometimes that's a bit much. I think that's almost like being told what to do, and as we know, I don't like that. So maybe I was sort of fighting against myself in that situation. I have debated opening like a little pared back shop, maybe like prints and something, but honestly I don't really have any ideas for it. Obviously I still have all the setup. Like I have a whole shelving unit that I built for that shop that now is literally not needed, and I'm very aware that it's just empty and sat here, but it's not costing me anything to have it here. We obviously don't need this room right now for anything, so I'm just gonna leave it. Maybe one day I'll end up selling it all. Maybe I can turn these cabinets into like wardrobes for my children. You know, all the thoughts have crossed my mind, but I don't think I will open another shop in that kind of sense. Would you get any more pets? Every so often I find myself scrolling on the RSPCA site where we got Gus from, and I'll fall in love with an adorable kitten, and then I'll look at Gus and he'll most likely be shouting at me or eating his food too fast and throwing it back up. And then I remember, actually no, I don't think I want another cat. I think he's quite happy being an only child, especially since his accident with his eye. Like, I think he's quite happy just living his life. So yeah, and also it's expensive. Like, that boy's cost us a lot of money, and I think I'd just be on edge all the time. Okay, final question. Do you earn more from YouTube or from graphic design? So I'm going to sort of separate this question a little differently. It's not just YouTube that I do, it's obviously Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and then I also have obviously graphic design, so client work, and then I also do like side hustle things. So I've got a little tiny, very small Etsy shop, so I get some income from that. Overall, I still definitely get more income from the social side of that, not just YouTube. So mainly brand deals, which is scary because I do not want to rely on that, because obviously they are few and far between sometimes. It's not very consistent. Some brands have like really small budgets, some brands have great budgets, but it's really hit and miss. And especially, can you hear Gus? that boy. And especially now the influencers market, I guess, is more saturated, there's going to be fewer and fewer brand opportunities coming through, and obviously I'm really selective with the ones I do, and I'll stand by that. Whether, like, I've turned down big deals that would pay my bills for a few months because the brand itself or the product doesn't align with what I like, and I'm going to continue to do that because it's not worth losing your guys' trust over me paying the bills for a few months. I can figure that out, you know, like, you guys have kept me going, so I'm not going to break that trust. So yeah, most of my money comes from brand deals right now, which is scary, hence why I'm trying to do the side hustle Etsy thing. Obviously I get money from YouTube ads as well, nowhere near as much as it used to be, which is it kind of makes sense because lockdown was peak, like everyone sitting at home watching videos, so obviously the money then was higher. So yeah, we're finding a balance. I've got a whole mixture of different income streams, which I think in this kind of day and age is very important because I don't trust any of them. And I'm definitely going to move forward and look at obviously digital products. Can you stop? I'm not trying to be the star of the show this entire video. Very valuable difference to learn about cats and dogs is that to a cat, they are the centre of their own universe. Like, you just exist in their world, whereas dogs you are their world. Like, you are everything to them, you're their best friend, whereas cats just tolerate you and you just sort of live for them. He's currently just sat on the floor glaring at me. Shall I finish? Do you need attention? Alright, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching this very chatty Q&A. I know it's been a while and it's very different to what I usually do, but I just fancied a good old chin wag, and it was just kind to my brain to do this rather than subject you to the very dull and depressing week I had last week. So yes, thank you so much, and if you watched to the end, comment "We love Gus" and I'll know that you committed for this long. Well done. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye.